Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Today we're going to do a deep dive on BlackBerry Limited.
BlackBerry Ltd.
Yeah, you remember those iconic smartphones?
Yeah.
The ones with the physical keyboards?
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if you remember those.
Yeah.
But
I do.
they've undergone a major transformation.
Yeah, they have.
And we're gonna take a look at them through the lens of value investing, using insights from Warren Buffett himself.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's exciting.
are they a hidden gem or just a relic of the past?
Well, let's find out.
Let's find out. All right.
Oh.
So what's really interesting to me is how BlackBerry has completely reinvented themselves. I mean,
They've moved away from hardware entirely,
completely. Yeah.
and they're focusing now on intelligent security software and services, and specifically targeting the Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things.
Or IoT.
IoT.
Like everything from smart homes to connected cars.
Yeah, that's
It's a huge market with a lot of potential.
A lot of potential. So, okay.
Yeah.
So what does this new BlackBerry actually offer?
Their offerings are quite diverse.
Okay.
They've got SecuSUITE for secure government communications.
Oh.
They've got BlackBerry UEM
Okay.
for businesses to manage all their devices.
Okay.
And even BlackBerry Ad Hoc, a critical event management system used by organizations to respond to crises.
That's a big shift.
It is a huge shift from smartphones.
Yeah.
It's a completely different company now.
Okay, so what I find really intriguing is they're in cars now.
Yes.
Like their software is in cars.
Yes, their QNX operating system is a real powerhouse in the automotive world.
Yeah, it's not just the infotainment system, right?
No, it's not just infotainment. We're talking about the core software that many vehicles rely on to function.
To function, wow.
In fact, they have a QNX royalty backlog of $640 million.
$640 million.
Which gives you a glimpse into their future earning potential.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious figure.
It is.
Okay.
They're not alone.
They're not alone.
Yeah. They've got competition.
Right, what's the competitive landscape like for them?
It's incredibly competitive.
Oh, really?
They are up against tech giants like Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, and Google.
Wow.
Not to mention specialized security software companies.
Okay, so they're really trying to carve out a niche for themselves.
They're focusing on carving out specific niches where their expertise shines.
Okay, so like those embedded systems we talked about in the vehicles.
Exactly like those embedded systems in vehicles.
Okay, so they're playing to their strengths.
Yes.
Okay, so now every company's success hinges on its leadership.
Of course.
What can you tell us about the team at the helm of BlackBerry's transformation?
So BlackBerry is led by CEO John Giamatteo, who has a long history in the tech world.
Okay.
Over 30 years, to be exact.
Wow, so he's been around the block a few times.
He knows the industry.
All right.
And their CFO, Tim Foote, brings a wealth of financial expertise from his experience at companies like Zscaler and Financial Force. So they've got a pretty solid team.
Experience is definitely valuable, but have they been making the right moves?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, what kind of strategic decisions has the management team made?
They've been pretty active on that front.
Right.
They made strategic acquisitions like Cylance to bolster their cybersecurity portfolio.
Okay.
But they've also streamlined operations,
Okay.
cutting costs by roughly $100 million in their cybersecurity division.
Wow, that's significant.
And they've also been very strategic with their capital allocation,
Okay.
making tough decisions about where to invest and where to divest.
So they're not afraid to make tough choices.
No, they're not.
All right, that sounds promising.
Okay, welcome back to our deep dive on BlackBerry.
Yeah, so we just talked about, BlackBerry's financial picture.
Right.
Now it's time to look at how the market is perceiving this company in transition.
Yeah, it's
We've got this company making some pretty bold moves.
bold moves, yeah.
What are investors saying? Is the market buying into this new vision?
Well, it's a mixed bag, honestly. BlackBerry's stock price has been rather volatile.
Yeah, reflecting the uncertainty surrounding their transition.
Yeah, change can be unsettling for investors when you're not sure what's going to happen.
But what are the analysts saying?
Yeah.
Are they bullish on BlackBerry's future?
Analyst opinions are all over the map.
Really?
Actually, some see BlackBerry as a potential turnaround story,
Okay.
while others remain skeptical.
Okay.
Robert W. Baird, for example, has given them a neutral rating.
Which isn't exactly a vote of confidence?
No, not really.
So no clear consensus from the experts?
No.
What about actual investors?
Yeah.
Who owns BlackBerry stock, and what does that tell us about the market sentiment?
BlackBerry does have significant institutional ownership.
Okay.
That means big players like investment funds and pension funds
Right.
hold a sizable chunk of their stock,
Okay.
which usually suggests a certain level of confidence.
From those institutional investors.
Right. They're just putting their money where their mouth is.
Right. They tend to do their research.
Yeah, they do a lot of due diligence before they make big investments.
Okay, but what about the people running the company?
Ah, yes, the insiders.
Are they putting their money where their mouth is?
It's been a bit mixed.
Okay.
There have been some notable insider sell transactions recently
No.
by individuals like J.P. Chai and Tim Foote.
Insider selling can definitely raise eyebrows.
It can.
Is that a cause for concern?
It's not always a red flag.
Okay.
There are many reasons why insiders might sell shares.
Sure. Like for personal reasons.
Exactly.
Diversification.
It doesn't necessarily signal a lack of faith in the company,
Okay.
but it's definitely something investors should keep in mind.
Absolutely. Transparency is key.
Transparency is key.
Now, what about the folks betting against BlackBerry?
The short sellers.
Yeah. What's the short interest looking like?
Interestingly, the short interest in BlackBerry has been fluctuating
Okay.
and recently saw an uptick of 3.53%.
Okay. So it's gone up.
This suggests that some investors are increasingly skeptical about BlackBerry's prospects.
So that's worth noting.
It is worth noting.
A rising short interest can sometimes be a sign of trouble brewing,
Yeah.
but not always.
Right. It's just another piece of the puzzle to consider.
Right.
And speaking of puzzles,
Yeah.
I think it's time we tackle the big one, the risks facing BlackBerry.
Okay. Let's dive into the risk assessment.
Let's do it.
What are the potential pitfalls that could derail BlackBerry's comeback story?
We can break it down using a SWOT analysis framework, looking at their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay.
Let's start with the strengths.
Yeah.
BlackBerry is a well-known brand
Right.
with a strong legacy in security.
Right.
They also have a deep understanding of the enterprise market
Okay.
and government needs.
Okay. So a solid foundation to build on.
Yeah.
But what about their weaknesses?
Okay.
What are some of the internal challenges they need to address?
Their transition to software has been a bumpy ride, and achieving consistent profitability remains a challenge.
Okay.
They're also heavily reliant on a few key customers,
Oh.
which makes them vulnerable if those relationships sour.
Yeah, that concentration of customers is a valid concern.
It is.
It's like putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Now, what about opportunities?
Ah, yes. The good stuff.
Yeah, what are the potential growth drivers that could propel BlackBerry forward?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
They're well positioned to capitalize on the explosive growth of the Internet of Things,
Okay.
especially in the automotive sector,
Right, with their QNX software.
where their QNX software.
Like, imagine a future
YouTube.
where most cars are autonomous or heavily connected.
Right.
BlackBerry's already embedded in millions of vehicles,
Millions.
giving them a head start in that race.
It does.
That's a compelling vision.
It is.
That $640 million
Yeah.
QNX royalty
The
backlog
royalty backlog.
is starting to make a lot more sense now.
It is.
It's like a down payment
It's like a down payment on their future
on this future. Yeah.
in connected vehicles.
Exactly. But of course, there are also external threats they need to navigate.
Of course.
What are some of the biggest threats looming on the horizon?
Competition is fierce
Okay.
in both the cybersecurity and IoT markets.
Yeah.
They're going up against some of the biggest tech companies in the world.
Yeah. It's a tough market.
It is a very tough market.
Also, keeping pace with rapid technological advancements requires constant investment in research and development.
Constant
It's
investment.
a constant race to stay ahead of the curve
Absolutely.
in the tech world.
It is.
What about other external factors
Yeah.
beyond competition and technology?
Macroeconomic conditions
Okay.
can have a significant impact
On their performance.
on their performance. Any economic downturn
Okay.
could dampen spending on technology, hurting their sales.
Right.
Inflation and rising interest rates can also squeeze their profit margins.
So many factors to consider.
There are a lot of factors at play.
It sounds like navigating these treacherous waters
Yeah.
will require BlackBerry to be incredibly nimble and strategic.
Absolutely. They need to be on their toes.
So before we jump into conclusions,
Yeah.
let's shift gears and delve into one final piece of the puzzle. Their strategic roadmap for the future.
I like it. Let's talk strategy.
Okay, so we are back for the final part of our BlackBerry deep dive.
The final part.
We've explored their business model. We've looked at their financials.
Yep.
Talked about market sentiment,
We did.
even the risks they face.
Uh-huh.
Now let's shift gears and talk about their roadmap
Okay,
for the future.
the future.
What's next for this company trying to reinvent itself?
Well, as we've discussed,
Yeah.
BlackBerry is laser-focused on becoming a leader in the Internet of Things,
The Internet of Things.
especially in the automotive sector.